Welcome back to the Pulse with me, Elton Brobert. Now, the National Democratic Congress, that's the NDC, is celebrating its 32nd anniversary today with a flag-raising ceremony at its headquarters. Now, over the years, the party has significantly influenced Ghana's development, both as a governing body and in opposition, producing leaders such as John Rawlings, the late, John Evans Atta Mills, also late, and John Dramani Mahama, who is bidding to lead the NDC again in 2025. So we went back into time, and this is what we were able to come up with. So what we have on the screen, the NDC was formed as the ruling party in 1992. That is after the adoption of the 1992 Constitution, and the way was cleared for multi-party democracy. Now, the party led a successful transition to multi-party competition. It is the first party to gain power in the Fourth Republic. And of course, you know the person who was the first. The party was founded by John Rawlings, first president in the Fourth Republic, and he led the party in the 1992 national elections, won it again in 1996. So between 1993 and 2001, former President Rawlings was the president. But before that, he had been head of state under a military rule of NDC. And then in 2009 and 2012, John Evans Atta Mills, after two failed attempts, became president. And then you know what happened. He couldn't finish his term. And then, he was called by God. And then John Dramani Mahama took over the mantle in 2012 to 2016, where he lost to the current president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So you see, in between 2008 and, of course, 2008, it was John Kufuor before Atta Mills came in. So this has been how the party has performed from 1992 up until the last election of 2020. So Jerry John Rawlings, the late Jerry John Rawlings, won in 1992 after we had come from military rule with 58.4%, repeated it with 57.4% in 1996. In 1992, he contested the MPP then had Professor Albert Addo as a candidate in 1992, but Jerry John Rawlings won that election with 58.4%. In 1996, John Kufuor became the MPP's leader. He contested Jerry John Rawlings, and then again, Jerry John Rawlings won with 57.4%. But then the party, electoral fortunes would take a nosedive in 2000 when John Kufuor won that election. The NDC recorded 43.3% in that election. John Evans Atta Mills was the candidate then for the NDC. He again will come up against John Kufuor in 2004 and managed to lift himself up from 43.3% to 44.6%, but was not enough for him to win the election. The NPP will go ahead to win that election in 2004. And then in 2008, John Evans Atta Mills came on again, this time against Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and won that election by 50.1%. Remember that election went into a second round, and then at some point, the Tyne constituency in the Bonahafo region then now became the decider, and then the NDC won with 50.1% of that election. Unfortunately, John Evans Atta Mills met his untimely death, so John Dramani Mahama had to finish that term. And then he will put himself up for election on the ticket of the NDC in 2012, winning by 50.7%. Then in 2016, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo on the ticket of the MPP came up against John Dramani Mahama. Nana Akufo-Addo won that election. The NDC will again go down from 50.7% in 2012 to 44.4% in 2016. But we improved in 2020 with 47.3%, after which he alleged irregularities in the electoral process, went to the Supreme Court with the intention of overturning the outcome of the election. The Supreme Court ruled against that election petition, affirming the declaration of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo as the ultimate winner of the 2020 elections. So that's how the NDC has come from 1992 up until now. Remember 1992, after Albert Addo lost to the NDC, he raised issues of electoral, irregularities. They wrote the stolen verdict. The NDC decided that because of what they had complained about they were not going to contest the parliamentary elections in 1992. And so the NDC had a clean sweep. They swept 189 seats, and then the 11 belonged to the NCP then, and then some independent candidates. So the NDC had absolute majority in the 1992 parliament because the MPP has stayed out of the parliamentary elections. In 1996, though, they were again, they won by 133. This was under the leadership of Jerry Rawlings. The MPP had 67 seats. The MPP will again be the majority in parliament. But in 2000, when everything changed and John Akufo became president, the NDC seats dropped from 133 to 91, with the MPP winning 109 seats, forming a majority in parliament and the government as well. The NDC fortunes will again dwindle from 91 to 94, but the MPP will move up to 136 and then again maintain their strong majority in parliament. 2008, when Professor John Evans won the presidency on the ticket of the NDC again will go ahead to win the parliamentary, but with a slim majority, 116 as against 114. And in 2012, remember, the NDC had 148 seats under the leadership of John Dramani Mahama, the MPP 127. So this is how the parliamentary seats look like. And in 2016, 104 for the NDC, 171 for the MPP. And then in 2020, what has come to be known as the hung parliament currently stands at 137 seats for the MPP and for the NDC, and 138 seats for the MPP. So 137 for the NDC, 138 for the MPP. The reason is 138 against 137 is that an independent candidate who stood and won the former election decided to do business with the MPP. The reason why the MPP has 138. So that's how the NDC has come. So today there was a flag-raising ceremony at the party's headquarters. Chairman of the party, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, has some few words.
To create confusion, to make sure that this, our anniversary, will not happen, or it will be marred in controversies. All our attention will be drawn this morning to other debates that are completely irrelevant. But we have resisted that temptation. Let them continue lying. At the appropriate time, they will have their responses. But let me tell the peace-loving people of this country, the group of people we normally will call the conscience of this country, that our nation is not sitting well. We are getting into a crucial election, and all attempts that we have made to make sure that the election turned peaceful are being frustrated. We warned against militarization of our elections. Today, even on the occasion of voter transfers, military men have been deployed in some constituencies, wielding weapons, trying to convert the citizens who bought the weapons and the uniform for them into the enemies of the state. Please, if there are any voices of conscience left in this country, this is the time for them to speak.
So the question, how has the party's leadership shaped the nation's progress during these 3 decades? Join us for a discussion of the party's impact on Ghana's political and socio-economic landscape is Mr. Akufo-Addo, founding member of the NDC, former member of Parliament for Host Central in the first Parliament of the Fourth Republic, and currently chairman of the NDC's 32nd anniversary celebration. He's also a special assistant to the Speaker of Parliament. Urban Barbing. Mr. Addo, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Elton.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm very well.
32 years of the founding of the NDC.
Right.
Perhaps we can start from, let's say, 91, before we went into 92.
Yes.
And then from military rule to the adoption of the 1992 Constitution that paved way for multi-party democracy.
Yes.
How did the NDC, come about?
I'll tell you. 91 was exactly 10 years of PNDC. Because this PNDC revolution started in 1981. In 1991, there was a decision taken by PNDC that we should go back to Ghanaians. After 10 years of revolution, we should go back to Ghanaians to find the way forward. There was a major discussion in the country the previous 3 years.
Right.
And National Commission of Democracy then was chaired by Justice Annan, who was a vice chairman of PNDC. They were tasked to go around the country to do town hall meetings and meet people to find out the feeling of Ghanaians about the way forward after 10 years of revolution.
This was before the adoption of the Constitution?
Before the Constitution was actually drawn.
Okay.
So they went around and came back and reported to PNDC that Ghanaians said they wanted the party politics that we stopped 11 years earlier. So PNDC said, okay, they will have it. All Ghanaians asked for, they will have it. But then we should draw a new constitution because too many things have happened between 1979 Constitution, PNDC, and that time. So a new constitution has to be drawn. And therefore, various groups, 260 people were put together. Various groups, artisans, doctors, market women, butchers, everybody was put together, 260. Two groups did not pick up the call. One was Bar Association.
Ghana Bar Association.
Yes. They didn't understand why they were asked to send just one person when market women were sending 10.
They wanted more representation.
Yes, yes. And then the National Union of Ghana Students at the time, NUCS, also followed suit that they didn't see why they should be given
only one slot.
Yes. So at the end of the day, it was 258 people who were there. I was part of the group.
Okay.
I was a member of the consultative. We didn't call it Constituent Assembly at that time. The idea of consultative assembly meant people should go, take the decision, and give it back to the people to approve. So we're just consulting. A committee was set up, and Nana Asante, Nana J. Asante.
Okay, not SKB Asante.
No, not SKB. The Nana himself.
Okay.
To put together some work which the consultative assembly will look at.
Okay.
Afarijan was part of that group and all that. So when we got there, we started on the basis of that. Various constitutions were supplied to us, the British, the American, the French, every constitution. Then 1960, 1969, 1979 constitutions of Ghana were all given to us.
Okay.
So that is when we met from about 6 to 7 members from 1991 to March 1992 to come out to what we have now as the Constitution. So in April 1992, there was a referendum. This Constitution was taken to Ghanaians. All of us were asked to go and talk about the highlights of the Constitution to Ghanaians. And there was a vote asked to confirm or reject the Constitution. This vote was positive because all the parties then, there were no political parties at that time. But various groupings which colors were known,
of course,
all came together and accepted the Constitution. It is after that one that the road map was drawn for people to go and form parties.
Political parties?
Yes, political parties. So our tradition, there was a little debate. Do we join the CPP? After 10 years of revolution, do we have things that we can stand for? Do we have history? And
there was also a discussion whether the offspring from the PNDC should join the CPP.
Yes.
Instead of forming a new party.
Known traditions at that time.
The Nkrumahs and the
United Party. United Party.
UP.
Yes, where all the parties before 1957 who were opposed to CPP came together to form what they call United Party. The NPP from the north, the Togoland Congress, the GAN, my GAN is not very good, the NLM, and all the parties came together to form United Party against CPP. So that's the UP tradition that we talk of. Okay, so we decided at a meeting that we'll form our own party. But it wasn't just straightforward. There were various tendencies. The idea was to bring together all nationalists, good Ghanaians, to join those of us who were part of the revolution to form a broad-based party.
Like a party of national unity or something?
Yes, that was what it was. And that's what it is. That is why we win in 8 regions and some people win in 2 and all that, because it brought everybody together. But even within the revolutionary group, there were various groups, the CDRs, the 31st group, the Eagle group,
right,
the Rollins Fan Club, and various groups came together. And we had series of discussions about coming together. That is why we don't call ours a party. It's a congress.
It's a congress. So at the time, the idea to form your own party and not to join the CPP, was Rollins part of this idea? Because we've heard rumors that the NDC was formed and he was invited to join. Okay, so to tell the truth, we used his name to form the party, although he was still in the army. Right. The Constitution says you cannot be in the army and be part of a political party. Good. So until September 1992, Rollins was still in the army. But we went around forming a Rollins party. We said to Ghanaians that we were forming our party, but we'll be able to convince Rollins to come and take the flag. That's what happened. So we were forming a party based on our history. Continuity was the word at that time. That the good things that we thought we did, because for 11 years, we did a number of good things. A number of people were not happy about 1 or 2 things. But we thought that on the average, we did better, and Ghanaians would appreciate us more. And Rollins was still extremely popular, even at that time. With him in our boat, there would be continuity. And that is the word that we use. So we needed to meet. First, even to determine the name of the party, a congress, bringing everybody together, democracy, because we have always been the Democrats, and then national, because we were national. So we brought all this together. Then the symbol, the umbrella for royalty, for protection, and the eagle on the top, right, for security. Then we chose the colors. None of these things that you see with the party. It came by accident. No. Everything was well planned. Debates and sorting the colors: black for African pride, white for peace, and red for the blood of those who struggled from independence time through the revolution. That was a remembrance, and green for protection of the environment. Now we behave as if we are the last generation. We don't want to hand over, destroy everything. We want to destroy everything. But Bezato, is it true that the decision to use the umbrella as a symbol and the colors, is there any truth in it that all of these were ideas and designs of the former First Lady, Nana Akufo-Addo Rollins? I wouldn't so. They were all part of the discussion. For instance, the colors. These colors were already revolutionary colors. The revolution that we did. If you look at June 4 colors, so that one could not have been coming from one person. It is true that there was a discussion also at the level of 31st. And I don't want to downplay the role of 31st. 31st December Women's Movement? No, at all. Women generally, but 31st. And then I was part of that debate. I was there when the debate was on. We'll attribute this to one of our cadres called Kojo Mama Adam, who was working at the 31st place. You know, he was assigned as a cadre to 31st. And he said that at a discussion that they had earlier, they thought about the umbrella and they were coming to bounce it with the larger group. And the larger group looked at it and we all agreed. So it's a collective decision. All these things, the pledge, the anthem. The anthem was written by some people, Totobi and Co. And we got Joelaka to sing it.
So everything was approved. Everything was discussed.
So at the time all this discussion,
assign it
to just one person.
Yeah.
So at the time all this discussion about, I mean, the name to even use, the colors, the umbrella as a symbol, and then at this time, Rawlings was still in the military
until September.
But behind the scenes, did he play any role?
Well, we didn't. He couldn't even be part of the meeting. You see, he couldn't because.
So he didn't know what was coming.
No, because he was in the army and he could not come. But of course, why? We were briefing him. He would be anxious to know who succeeds him. Nobody. Even if you left the pulse, you would like to know who will come and sit in his seat. So, but he didn't break the law, and so all those discussions were on before we went and we were supposed. A letter commissioner came with some guidelines. Letter commission. That time it was a commission. Before then, we had sole commissioners, but from the 1992 Constitution, we had commission. Okay, so they had guidelines, what you must do to get your interim certificate and what you should do after that to get the permanent certificate. So we laid out the structures. We got founders for each. There were 110 districts at the time and all that. So we submitted this to a letter commission. So June 10, 1992 was the day we were given our interim
certificate to operate as a political party.
As a party. Now we have to look for party offices. We have to people the party constituencies, get leaders, and so June 10. It was.
So at that time, who would you consider was the leader of the party at that time?
No, the party that didn't exist.
At the time you had your interim certificate.
Those of us were functionaries.
Okay.
Were asked to go and bring people so that we form parties. So government was running as usual, but there was no party until June 10. On the 10th of June, we announced an interim leadership led by Akufo-Addo, who was a commissioner in General Champon's time. Very good man. He was a well-established accountant. And we got lawyer Munufie later.
Yes, from the Bono region.
Good. He was in Buzia's government as rural development minister. So at those days when we were investing in the late 70s, if you were behaving rural, we'll call you Munufie. Because he was the rural development
minister, secretary then.
So we went
this
round.
Is A.A. Munufie.
Yes, A.A. Munufie.
At some point was Ghana's ambassador to Cote d'Ivoire, a co-chair of the NDC.
Wonderful. So we brought people together. That's when we announced leadership, interim leadership of the party. Until we had our Congress in September, those people were still interim.
At this time, where was Eagle Party?
Yes. So one of the movements that was formed when the ban was lifted and were to form groups and various groups emerged, there was a group among us which called themselves Eagle.
The rumor has always been that Eagle was actually formed by the former president, Jerry Rawlings.
No, he didn't form. Although his brother Susudis was a leader.
Michael Susudis.
Oh, but a lot of people, E.T. and Co. I mean, some of our top people were Eagle. But the CDRs, which was the main vehicle, formed another group called the Front. And another group was formed in the Eastern region called Rawlings Fan Club. And there were other groups. So we had to have a discussion. Have you seen the umbrella? Have you seen our umbrella? I'm sure you see that there is a head of the eagle.
I mean, this is what we have.
Good. You see the head of the eagle at the top. That was a compromise
between the NDC and the Eagle Party.
Group. No, the Eagle Party came later because the Constitution didn't allow the laws, PNDC law, didn't allow anybody to pick a symbol that was already known, a national symbol.
Right.
And the eagle is our national symbol. You know, if you see our coat of arms.
Of course.
So we told them there can be no eagle. Later on, when we formed the NDC, some of them, some 4 doctors, decided that they would not come to it. They would form. So they changed the name. They didn't spell it E-A-G-E-L-E again.
So it was E-G-L-E.
Yes, Eagle.
Eagle Party.
So, and they said, they also brought a bird, but they said that bird was not called eagle. It was called the Kuf. Up to now, I don't know who climbed the Kuf climbs it. So that was on, and we kept it going because these are our own people, and it was useful that we kept it going. If you know what happened in 1992.
Right.
when NPP boycotted
the parliamentary election.
After they lost.
After claiming electoral malpractices.
When they wrote a book. And
the stolen verdict.
We needed to go ahead with the election. And then we had Eagle Party to contest with and NCP. Why we didn't do CPP directly with us? The CPP tradition broke into 3 different parties at the time. 4. People's Heritage Party, People's Convention Party, National Independence Party, and NCP, National Convention Party. Those who belong to the CPP tradition broke into 4 different groups. And it was difficult for us revolutionaries now to find out which of them
you should align with. But again, the NDC is also blamed for the state of CPP, even up until now, because you virtually took all their members. Someone would say every serious NDC person draws his strength or his root from the CPP.
Oh, no, when we were all young people, I mean, the CPP was the one that we all leaned towards. But after 10 years of the overthrow of Liman's government, several things have changed.
Right.
And people, I'm telling you, we got people from even NPP, PP at the time, no, not Progress Party, Popular Front Party. I told you Monufie and Obeda Samoa and also a Champong who was a member of Parliament.
And I guess people like lawyer J. Mensah.
Yes.
Isaac J. Mensah.
Okay, I don't know his antecedents, but I knew that he was a regional minister during our time. I don't know his antecedents. But the people I mentioned now, Kwekuba, even Justice Annan himself, these were all from that front. But what PNDC did was to talk to as many people as possible from various traditions to form a party. So from that blame, it's not.
You can hear that. So at what point did you bring in Rawlings officially?
Well, so we formed a party, and we decided to go to Cape Coast. The biggest rally ever held in the Central Region was in September 1992. Then we invited Rawlings to step out of the army, to resign, and come and take the flag as the leader of the NDC. I think he resigned 3 days before. So even in Cape Coast, people were not sure whether he was going to come. And eventually, he resigned and came. So Rawlings officially came in and received our flag in the first Congress that we held in Cape Coast in 1992. Yes, but it was in 1998 Congress in 2nd D that we officially wrote his name into the Constitution.
As a founder of the NDC.
So we had a Congress in 92 in Cape Coast. We had in 94 in Kumasi. We had in 96 in Sunyani. Those days we were doing it every other year. The 98 one, we knew that by 2000 you would have been off the scene. And for all that he did, and so we call him the founding father of the party, from whom we took inspiration. If you look at to form the party. So 1998, we amended the Constitution. I think Clause 11 also puts his name there as the founder, because it was based on his inspiration and his good work.
That the party was formed.
Even
though other people worked to bring the party up.
And
you were one of them.
Yes, we were young men then.
Exactly.
Young men. From Volta region to the north. I was working here. Then I was sent to Volta region CDRs, came back to Consultative Assembly. So as CDR people were meeting every other week with the committee of secretaries here to lay out the structure, the Constitution, the manifesto, and all the write-ups of the party were done by a group of cadres. Guzitano, Larry Ajete, I'll mention names.
Yeah. And because you mentioned the name of Guzitano, I mean, the party has traveled a long way from 1992 up till now. And you say the party is still very strong.
Yes.
I mean, but what nearly broke the back of the party was after the Swedo Declaration.
Yes.
And then the breakaway, which for some led to the MPP winning the 2000 elections.
Yes.
I mean, what is the backstory that eventually, birthed John Evans Atta Mills as the leader of the M, when everybody thought that power was going to shift from Rawlings to another person rather than Mills?
No, so Rawlings just went to Swedo to say that he would be happy. He wouldn't mind. That's what he said. He would be happy if his vice, in whom he had a lot of trust, succeeds him. That's how he put it. I was right there in Agoda Street to write in front, because I was the Deputy General Secretary of NDC from 94 to Hudu up to 2002. So when we came back, but before then...
so you didn't have any hints as to what was going to happen?
No, it was one of the first boom speeches.
Aswedu.
But
so everybody was taken by surprise with that announcement?
Not really, because Mills was doing well.
He was already vice president?
Yes, he was already vice president and was doing well in 2 years. That was just 2 years with him. We knew that we were going to go through the processes to elect a leader in the year 2000. That was his preference. He said that was his preference. But before then, we had what we call reform movement within the NDC. It was not a party then. And we're meeting, those of us who were cadres who brought everybody together were feeling as if we were being marginalized. So we had a reform movement, wanted to take over the structures, the control. We were saying that next Congress, we should be secretaries, we should be organized. Those were the things we're discussing. So it was part of that reform movement that said, no, they were not happy with. Their displeasure was more than some of our displeasure. So they turned the part of the movement to a party. But NDC survived it. We survived Obeda Samoa and his party. We survived Madame and her party. It's a strong party. When you move out of it, you may not survive. Certainly, it takes something away, of course, from us. And I'm sure 2000, nobody will deny that it took something.
It had the party, but did Rawlings at the time reach out to the people to sort of bring them back? Explain the reason why he wanted Mills.
Were they ready to be brought back?
They were not ready.
I want to talk to you, you're not ready to talk to me. So I can't say yes or no to that.
Some say he was undemocratic when he made that pronouncement. You should have allowed the Congress to decide who should lead them. A suggestion. A suggestion that was difficult for anybody to reject.
Well, we were to go to Congress, but before we could go to Congress, these divisions were coming. So by the year 2000, it was clear that then it was going to be Professor Mills. We all rallied around him, and we're trying to find the suitable running mate to go with him. But we didn't win. And but we were it's a very NDC. It's a very resilient party, very strong. So when we went to Congress, and Obeda Samoa, who was a top man, the chairman of the party, also broke away with his group. We were able to survive it. Then when Madame stood against, when I say Madame, I mean I still call her Madame, because I cannot downplay the role she played in the formation of the party. Right. Anybody who does that was not at the center of it all. I know the role she played. When she also tried to form her party, we were still strong. And even beyond that one, we went and won the election in 2008. So that's how strong NDC is. And the 7th December, warm me up.
You are absolutely certain of that.
Well, we are. Why not? Except that we are not complacent. You realize that we are not complacent. We are not taking anything for granted. We are not giving anything to prayers. We are fighting hard to cover all the ground, all the bleeds, so that come 7th December, what we wish, what Ghana wishes would happen.
But Bezato, I know that political parties are made up of people.
Yes.
Without the people, there's no party.
Yes.
And listening to you from the formation of the NDCs, the role played by key individuals, including yourself, DF Anan, and the rest you brought in, A.A. Munufie, and the likes, one cannot say that the very existence of the NDC should be traced to Jerry Rawlings, even though in 1998 you took a decision to make him the father of all the founders. But credit cannot be solely him.
No, nobody said so. In fact, we were given forms to get founders, to sign as founders. So people like us didn't even sign that form. They said every district must have a founder. So we, in NDC, I think we have about 36 of them alive. The 110, because they were all senior people at the time. So most of them have died. And then for region, every region too must have a founder. I handled the one for Volta region. So these were the official founders. If you go into the Electoral Commission now, the 110 people that signed the forms before were given the interim certificate and the founders. So that's why we call him the founding father. Yeah, so we all worked towards it. But like I said, I mean, a lot of the places, when you are talking, those days, they'll ask you who will be your candidate. As soon as you message, they say, go. You have done your work. So nobody can take that away from
him, right?
At all, except that all of us work together. I'm on a crusade now, going around talking to our cadres, to the young ones in the party now, to remember those who laid down
the foundation for the party.
Joy FM here, when it started, we were the people who really started with the party in 95, 96. The various parties were coming. There were programs, Doajaho, Tornado, and Fifi Kwete and were young men. Some of them were actually in school to build up what we have now as NDC. And after all this, even 8 years in opposition, we are still doing very well as a strong party. So we didn't say Rawlings was a sole founder. Nobody has said so. And our constitution has not said so. But we said that we cannot take away the founding of NDC. We all work together.
Right. So 16 years in power, 16 years in opposition.
Yeah, so another 16 years.
Yes, 16, and then we are hoping that in 2025 you form the next government.
Yes.
That is if Ghanaians give you the mandate. In terms of, I mean, our democratic development, will you say that the NDC has played its part perfectly?
Oh, we have. Who is perfect? We have. We have done our work. In opposition, we're very responsible. In government, we are extremely careful and care for our people. We do projects that they want. We build structures that are to survive every time. With education, we have done a lot more for education than anybody else.
So someone says that the NDC pride itself as, a social democratic party.
Yes.
The MPP property owning.
Yes.
But they've done more social interventions than the NDC.
Why? When you send electricity to all corners of the county, is it not social intervention? When you send secondary schools and primary schools to all corners and remove schools under trees, is it not social intervention? It's not. Is it? It's our definition of social. The rules that
those who say this reference the MPP's implementation of, for example, the national health insurance.
Do you know the form?
The Metro Mass, and then the free senior high school program. These are social intervention events.
Yes. So
you expect that the MPP will be more interested in people paying for what they assess. And they say that they've done more than a party that prides itself being social democracy.
You see, when you are not part of a system and you want to bring it, you don't do it too well. Particularly if you don't want to listen to others who know. National health insurance, until we came back, was mutual, was district. You cannot use your card from your village to my village. So we came and gave meaning to it. Even school feeding. These were schools in Accra, Kumasi, big towns. We came and sent it to the masses. We took it and sent it to the masses. I don't have the figures about those who were registered on national health insurance before we came, but we tripled those figures. But that is apart from that. You see, you cannot the social intervention. It's not just about school feeding and education. I am chairman of a board of a school. If I tell you how we don't want to consult, because the president talked about free education, and we're hoping that then there will be consultation. This is what I want to do. How do you think we should do it? You bring educators, you bring everybody together. But just it started. Then it occurred to somebody that, you could even create more space by doing yellow color and green color. As soon as something occurred to somebody, now we need to sit down and
have a discussion about it
and bring everybody on board,
see how we make it better.
MPP, everybody, stakeholders, to see the way forward. It's good that they started a thing like that. People like us were lucky, went to school with government scholarship, so I never really paid, but it was not so for everybody. But you see, you need power to move the country, and we started it. we did what we call the self-help electrification program, and in the 90s, we got power to as many places
as possible.
As possible.
Okay.
So is that we created? There were 3 universities when we came into power.
Public universities.
Yes, 3 public universities. Can you imagine how many we have now, including the technical universities, including Winneba, including the Takwa and all those places, you know? So schools that were under trees, they never end, because as soon as a community finds it too long to go to,
they have to create their own school.
They start something. Do you know how many we have taken out? At Harry Sawyer's time, we did more than 2,000 pavilions all over the country to remove trees.
Schools under trees
and all that. So when you talk about social intervention,
you've done more.
Yes,
you've done more. All right. So we're wrapping up. You know, when I was doing my slides, I spoke about the current parliament, which is the hung parliament.
Yes.
The speaker, Abdul Babin, member of the NDC, presides over the 8th parliament, and you are a special assistant to the speaker.
That's right.
How would you rate his performance so far?
I think he's done very well. We needed a president like him to keep the parliament that we have.
Yeah.
Number one, because of his experience. That man stayed in there for 28 years.
Yes.
So he knows the very history. We all started together. But after 3 terms, some of us left the parliament. He stayed on. He knows the people individually. He knows the rules. He knows what is good. And apart from sitting and ruling that you all see, several things have happened in parliament.
Behind the scenes?
Yes, about the welfare of the workers, about creation of new structures, about the fact that parliament did not have too many people to rely on. We were relying on ourselves as MPs even to do budget. Now there's a budget department, there's a finance department, there's a department of communication broken into 3, where one is for broadcasting, one is for social interaction, and one is for interaction with the public. Several structures have been laid out now, and we needed a backbone with his experience
to do that.
To keep the parliament.
And this is something that will continue to exist, even if
yes, this is structure. No, they will be approved by the board, and a lot of it is being implemented. Even the welfare of the workers. We had a structure where when you reach a certain level of a director, no matter how long you stay in the parliament, you don't move because the structures were not laid out. So people were directed for 15, 20 years and retired. Now, things have been realigned. We have a clerk, we have deputy clerks, we have assistant deputy clerks, then we have chief directors, then we have so we have laid it out, and people now
know the progress in terms of the work they are doing.
Until you
but then the other side, the MPP members sometimes feel that sometimes he's too partisan in some of his rulings on the matters before the House.
Sometimes we also feel he gives in to them. So it is the good person is always perfected the other way. You know that sometimes our people also say, why did you give in to this? But I think it's taken a lot of cue from Justice Anna in particular. His patience. Justice Anna, when he was there in the first parliament, it was only NDC plus NCP, about 7 or 8. But second parliament, as you just pointed out, we were 133 and MPP was 67, plus everybody else.
Right.
But Justice Anna gave equal time, equal opportunity to the 67 against the 133. I think that I see a lot of that with Bagbeni. He allows
everybody to
expect. There's something also that they do. Before you see him walking into parliament, they already have meetings with the leaders of both parties. How are we going to do in parliament? How is it going to happen? How many speakers from each party? Because I was going to correct you when you said 138, 137. Yeah. Actually, it's 137, 137.
Right. Then I made a point that
yes, but you corrected yourself in a way.
Somebody's doing business with the MPP.
How many people will speak? Sometimes to the details of names, who will speak. So
they can call them directly.
Yes. So you see that a lot happens in parliament that is peaceful and okay, particularly at the community level. But there are some places in which we have political disagreements.
I mean, despite giving him so much high marks in the way he has managed this hung parliament.
Yes.
Martin Amidu, who was Mills's running mate in 2000, former Deputy Attorney General, seen as a member of the NDC, thinks that Aban is corrupt. He says he used the word self-acclaimed corrupt leader.
As he explained, when
he says he wants a public forum to provide evidence to back this claim.
So,
you know Mr. Babin better.
Yes.
How do you respond to this claim that he's corrupt? Is he corrupt?
Don't fall to mudslinging and calling names. If he says acclaim, I've not really. Has he mentioned when he said so? Self-acclaimed. It means you have said that you are corrupt. It's not just labeling him. He says he is self-acclaimed. I don't even understand. And working with him the last 4 years, I don't see.
He says the speaker met the president in Dubai, and then some deals went on.
But you read it the next day. He said he didn't say so. He said he didn't say that he met him in Dubai and some days went on. In fact, I'm not here to talk about Martin. It's my comrade. And I don't like some of his write-ups. But it's clear that I don't know whether he has a beef with Bagbe. Maybe we'll meet him and find out. Or where, because I don't know who is going to set up that platform for him to come. I wish that in one of the write-ups, you just tell us, because the write-ups are sometimes very lengthy. I'm unable to finish all. Whether he gave example of where he was self-acclaimed, I didn't read. Because I want to see that example. Then I'll go and ask Speaker, when did you acclaim yourself to be corrupt? Is he inferring from something he had said or something he had done?
But how does he feel about all of this?
Oh, it's part of the... you know that we denied Parliament issues.
Yeah, there was a statement of denial. And then Mr. Amidu wrote another one saying that he wants a public forum to bring his evidence.
You see that we didn't respond to that one. Litigation must end somewhere. If the man said you went and met somebody, you didn't, and he said, no, that is not true. I think that is all. I don't know when that forum will come, but I can vouch for Mr. Speaker, because I got closer to him now even than before. He has always been my friend. We sat together in the first Parliament, and we have been in various committees. I've been part of all the conspiracies to make him a minority leader, a majority leader, because I have spent all my life in the party office. Right. So he's been my friend. But I've even got to know him better now. And as a speaker, because I'm his chief of staff. And this idea of corruption, I haven't seen it. No.
Mr. Addo, thank you very much for coming through.
Yes.
And Mr. Akufo-Addo is the chairman of the 32nd anniversary of the...
All the anniversaries that we celebrate in NDC.
You are the chair.
There's a committee.
Of course.
Committee. I am the
chairman of the committee. and more importantly, he's also the chief of staff at the office of the Speaker of Parliament. Now, we'll take a short break. When we return, the strike by the NIA workers has got the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission worried over its negotiation with them. The commission fears months of progress could be jeopardized by the industrial action. So how is the commission hoping to resolve this strike issue? We'll have more for you when we return from the short break. Stay right there. This is The Pulse.